The memorial plaza stretched empty under twin moons, its polished stone reflecting starlight like frozen tears. Lara stood at attention before the monument, her weathered uniform pressed sharp despite the years since she'd last worn it officially. The Galactic Peace Accord celebration echoed from the city center, but here at the Memorial of the Fallen, silence reigned. She was alone. Again. Lara had expected this. 30 years since the war ended, and humanity had scattered across the stars, building new lives on distant worlds. Her old squadron, those who survived, had moved on, started families, found peace in places far from battlefields. She didn't blame them. Some wounds needed distance to heal. Her hand traced the names carved into black stone, thousands of them. Human names mostly, but also Centaurian, Pleiadian, even a few Draconis. The alliance had been fragile then, held together by desperation and Earth's stubborn refusal to surrender. "I'm here again, Marcus," she whispered to one name. "Brought your favorite bourbon even though I'm supposed to be drinking that fancy Centaurian wine at the ceremony." The bottle sat at the monument's base, unopened. She'd pour it out at midnight as tradition demanded. Footsteps echoed across the plaza. Lara turned, hand instinctively moving toward where her sidearm used to rest. Old habits. 4 figures approached, silhouettes against the distant city lights. As they drew closer, Lara's breath caught. They weren't human. The moonlight illuminated scales that shimmered like living opals, wings folded against powerful frames, eyes that glowed with inner fire. Draconis. Dragonkin. But these were young, hatchlings barely past their juvenile molt. They moved with the awkward uncertainty of adolescence, their wings not quite proportioned to their growing bodies. "Excuse me," the largest one spoke in heavily accented standard. "You are Commander Lara Chen?" Lara straightened despite herself. "Retired Commander. Can I help you?" The 4 exchanged glances, a ripple of bioluminescence passing between them, their species' way of communicating complex emotions. The smallest stepped forward, clutching something wrapped in traditional Draconis silk. "Our mother," the young dragon's voice cracked. "She said to find you, said to tell you. Mama's sorry we're late." The words hit Lara like a plasma bolt. Mama. Only one person had ever called her that. Kira. The name escaped as barely a whisper. The dragon's scales brightened with unmistakable relief. The largest nodded eagerly. "You remember? Mother said you might not. Said humans forget easily." Forget? Lara felt her knees weaken. She'd spent 3 decades trying to forget. "Where is she?" The bioluminescence dimmed. The smallest dragon's eyes welled with tears that evaporated into steam before they could fall. "Mother passed 4 lunar cycles ago," the largest said softly. "The old wounds. They finally claimed her." Lara sat down hard on the memorial steps. Kira. Dead. The memories flooded back. The siege of Dracon Prime. The human fleet arriving just as the swarm breached the planetary shields. Lara leading her marines through burning streets, pulling survivors from collapsed buildings, finding 4 eggs in a destroyed nursery, their mother dying, using her last breath to beg the strange alien warrior to save her children. Lara had carried those eggs through 17 kilometers of hell, fought off swarm warriors with one arm, while cradling fragile shells against her chest with the other. Oliver, her second in command, had taken a plasma burst meant for her, buying seconds that meant survival for the eggs. They'd made it to the evacuation ship. Barely. "She told us stories." The second dragon spoke up, voice thick with emotion, about the human who became our first mother, who taught us to be brave, who sang us human lullabies even though she couldn't carry a tune. Lara laughed through sudden tears. "I really couldn't." "She said you visited every day while the eggs incubated aboard your ship," the third dragon added. "That you were there when we hatched. That you named us." "Ash, Ember, Flare, and Cinder," Lara whispered, looking at each in turn. They'd grown so much. "You were so small. Fit in my helmet." The smallest, Cinder, she remembered, stepped forward and carefully unwrapped the silk bundle. Inside lay Lara's old combat knife, the one she'd lost during the evacuation. Alongside it rested a datapad and a carefully preserved photograph. Lara in her combat armor, sitting cross-legged on a ship's deck, 4 tiny dragons curled in her lap. Mother kept these. Said they were her most precious treasures. Cinder's voice steadied. She wanted you to have them back. Wanted us to thank you. To tell you that she named every one of her hatchlings, there were 18 more after us with human middle names. That she taught them all to honor the warrior who proved that family isn't about blood or species. She spoke of you at the treaty signing, Ash said. Told the Galactic Council that humanity shouldn't be judged by their weapons, but by their willingness to risk everything for strangers' children. Lyra's hands trembled as she took the knife. The grip still fit perfectly. I thought she'd forgotten about me, she admitted. After I left you with the Draconis recovery fleet, I thought it was better that way. Cleaner. Mother said humans always think too much about what's proper. Ember's tone held affection. She said you probably stayed away because you thought that's what we needed. But she never forgot. Neither did we. Flare spread their wings, still slightly too large for their frame. We're entering the Guardian Academy next cycle. Training to be protectors like you, like Oliver who saved you so you could save us. He'd be proud, Lyra managed, touching Oliver's name on the monument behind her. You all would have liked him. We brought something else, Cinder said shyly. From a pouch they produced 4 small bottles of Draconis fire wine, saved for only the most sacred occasions. Mother's last wish was that we share a drink with you. Here at this place where you honor your fallen. She said warriors should never drink alone. Lyra looked at the 4 young dragons, at the monument, at the bourbon she'd brought for ghosts. She was right. Lyra stood, her voice stronger now, about so many things. As twin moons reached their apex, 6 figures stood at the memorial of the fallen. A retired human commander and 4 dragonkin who'd crossed the galaxy to honor a promise. They poured drinks for the living and the dead, and Lyra spoke the names carved in stone while her found children listened. She wasn't alone anymore. She never really had been.